Hello everyone. Today I thought I would just recap some of the things that we've already done. Hopefully you have had a bit of a practice of importing models and going to the Unity Asset Store and importing textures, and hopefully you're getting a bit of a library up in your main assets down here. There's a few things I wanted to go through with you today as well, because soon you're going to want to be itching to use those assets and start creating. But first, you need to know which platform you're creating for. So in VRChat, even though you're building one world, you can upload it as a Windows version, or you can upload it as an Android version. The Android version is for Quest users, the PC version is for PC only players. Now, I've put 6 blocks here so you can see that when I switch platforms, everything still remains the same. You're just building in different platforms. So when you open Unity up, when you open your project up, to know which platform you're currently in, it will say at the top, up the very, very top above all the toolbar, it will say your world name. Mine says tutorial. It will say VRC default world scene, and then it will say Windows. So currently I am in the Windows setup. So I could publish this, and this could be only visible for PC users. Now, you can have it like Moonshine, where it is for both PC users and Android users. And to do that, you'd need to publish for both. So to get to your publish page, on your toolbar at the top, you click on VRChat SDK. And then you click on Show Control Panel. Now, when you open your control panel, you will see a screen saying, please enter your email and your password. So you will need to enter your email, and it's the password for your VRChat account, not your Unity account. So you need to put your username and password in. Then it will say check your emails for verification. You will get a 6-digit number, and it will say enter the 6-digit number, and you enter that, and then you will have this load up. And this is your publish panel. This is everything that has to do with what's on your page when people look at your world. So you type in the name of your world in here. I've just put tutorial. You can have maximum capacity and recommended capacity. I always keep mine at 32 and 16. If you're doing 8, you need to say so. So you need to click down, and then you will need to click on adult language and themes. If you're doing quite a violent world with a lot of blood and gore, you may need to click excessive gore or graphic violence. And if you've been a bit naughty, you need to admit it and say it's got sexual suggestions in there. So that is the content warning button. Then you've got your tags, and here if you click that little pencil icon, it will open a window, and here you can type in your own tags. So at the moment I've got chill space and hangout. You could have, so people know it's a club, for example, and you can add that. You just add tag. You could put relax space and then click add tag, and then that will add all these tags to your publish page. So you can see there I've got 4 tags. Underneath that you've got your world description, so write a brief description about your world. And then on the right hand side here you've got a an area where you can upload either your own image. So let's have a look. So I could get my, where is it? Let's have a look what we've got here. I've got so much junk on here. I can't find it. Where has it gone? I'll just add it. That one. Open. There we go. So you can see my moonshine logo there. But if you haven't got a picture, then you can click capture in scene. And if I move my mouse around the scene, you can see in the camera here that through the lens of where you want to capture. And then you just click that capture button and that will capture that picture. So there's no resizing and things like that. Underneath here, you'll have any alerts or any messages, any warning signs. You will get warning signs, so please don't panic. It's usually about textures not being correct for VRChat use and things like that. So don't worry too much about those errors for now. If there is an error, a really bad error in there, it will stop you from publishing. So you will have to sort those errors out, but hopefully you won't get them. If you have anything that says auto fix on here or anything like that, then you can click auto fix on most things. But sometimes if you click it on a texture and you ask it to auto fix a texture, it actually breaks it. So just be mindful of what you're auto fixing. Underneath here, you then have what build type are you currently doing now. So how do you want to publish? This is what that means. And if you click that arrow, if you want to build and have it visible to the public, it's the first one, build and publish your world online. And you just change it to that. Or if you're not quite ready yet, but you want to see it on your headset, but it's not visible to the public, you can build and test your world. So you can click it on that. Now, next to it, you will see platforms, and it says Windows at the moment because we are currently building in the Windows platform. Now, if I wanted to jump over and publish and have it available to the Android platform, and to do so, if I was happy with this world, I would click build and test. And so that will then be in my uploaded worlds in my menu, and I can click on it and I can physically go in there and I will see these 6 cubes. But I will only be able to go in on PC because I've not published for Android yet. So if I click on Android like that, and then just click anywhere to get off it, and then you will have this box come up saying, are you sure you want to switch to Android? And you say confirm, and then it will take you over to Android platform. And just so you know that there is no difference, that's why I've put these 6 cubes in here, so you will know, you can visually see what I mean. When you do this for the first time, it may seem to take forever, and you might think, oh God, it's stuck. It's not stuck. What it's doing is everything that you've already downloaded or imported, it now has to reload all of that and move all of that into the Android folder, into the Android. But once you've done it, it remembers it, so it doesn't take so long. The more you do it, the less time it takes. It's a bit like moving house. You don't have to keep moving for all the boxes back in again. Once they're in, and it's loaded. But if you're adding anything new, then especially if it's something big, then it can take a little while for it to transfer over. And there we go. That's loading in now. There we go. So now, if you look up the top where your world name is, right up above where it says file and edit, it's got your world name. And then you will see along the side there, it's got Android. So now I know that I am now building in an Android platform. So I hope that makes sense. It's not the easiest to try and explain to you. If you're building for both Android and PC, you will need to, every time you publish, click build and test, and then you will have a little bar running across going loading, loading, loading. Let it do its thing. And then you need to click on Windows again, and then click build and publish, build and test. It will ask you, do you want to switch to Windows? And you say yes, and you click continue. And it will switch you back to Windows, which you then click build and test again. So I really hope that makes sense. The only other thing I also wanted to mention is if you are building in Android, your limit is 100 megabytes. Even if you're 101 megabytes over, it will not allow you to publish for Android. If you're doing it for Windows, it will allow you to publish. I would say don't go really much more, any more than 200 megabytes, because it could run okay on really expensive gaming computers, but the majority of people don't have really expensive gaming computers. So if they are using a PC through their headset and they're going into your Windows world, they could still lag out. So I think a safe bet is keep it under 200 for Windows, and it's 100 megabytes Android. And what I mean by megabytes is when we were in Horizons, if I had 20 of these cubes, each of these cubes would eat up my capacity, because it would count the geometrics on it. Whereas VRChat, it counts the megabytes of something. So when you're downloading, for example, a model of something, you want to check how big that file size is. If it's a huge file size for a chair, for example, I bought in a chair in Moonshine, and my whole world glitched out and I couldn't understand why. And it was because the chair was like mega high. So it wasn't really meant for a VRChat world. And that is another thing you will run into, especially in Unity Asset Store. Make sure the things you're using are for VRChat worlds, which most textures are and models are. It's when you get into particles and effects that you run into trouble. So the one thing I just wanted to show you before I closed off for today was, in your hierarchy, you have this VRC world. And what that is your spawn point, believe it or not. Took me ages to figure out where my spawn point was until somebody told me, because I was looking for the little blue man. But you don't have the little blue man in here. All you have is that. And this is the spot where people will spawn in. So place this around your world wherever you want it to be, and that's where your player will spawn. When you click on it on your hierarchy, you will see the settings of that spawn point here. And really, the only thing that you would really might change is this respawn height. So yours will say minus 100. You can change it to whatever you want. So you can go minus 70 or whatever. It depends on what you're doing for your world. But what that basically does is if the person runs off the end of the world, 7 cubic squares, I think it is, or whatever, they fall back to this spawn point. So they can always get back to your world if they fall off. And that's how far they fall before they hit the spawn point, that value. The only other thing you might want to change is if you scroll further down in the inspect panel, you have jumping impulse. So if you want the player to jump higher, you can increase that number. Walk speed, if you want them to walk slow, you can make it into a slow walk, or if you want to go really fast, you can go really fast for people who get restless and they like to run around. And you can do the same with the run speed. The strafe speed, that is the speed of you going left and right. So if you are going to change that, make sure it's the same value as the walk speed. Otherwise, the left and right speed won't feel right when you walk. It'll be all disjointed and that. But that is really, you'd only really change that if you're doing a game where you're doing a lot of dashing and things, shooting games and that. And the last thing is the minimum height and maximum height. So in my world, I have a maximum height because I don't like it when people do huge, great big avatars in your world, because what that can do, it can crash people and make the world glitchy. So I tend to keep the avatar height down to a certain level. And that's pretty much really. I haven't really shown you much on actually doing anything today, but this is really important for you to learn in here. So don't worry too much about these tabs up here. You won't really need to go into these very much, but this is what you needed to know. And whether you're building on Android, Windows, or both, just always remember to check which one you're building in. I always build in Android first because I know my limit is 100 megabytes on that, and as long as I am under that, then the PC it doesn't matter how much that goes over, really. So, yeah, at least I'm keeping within my limits when I'm building in Android. So that's it for today. It is only a Sunday, so no hard work really to do today. It's just getting an understanding of what these things actually are. And in my next project, we're just going to start afresh in this fresh world. And I'm just going to start building and talking my way through it. And hopefully then things will start to make a lot more sense to you. Until then, though, happy building, and I'll speak to you soon.